Welcome, my friends, to this community showdown featuring the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be led by Zach B. Sane. And today, guys, he's going to be facing off against the Vampire Coast, who shall be helmed by Hadries. Man, Hadries looks like he's coming in with an old school Vampire Coast build. So, a little bit of a history lesson here. And so, when Vampire Coast first came out, this was actually a very standard style of play. You would see Count Noctilus, and this was back when summons were very oppressive, right? They would just last forever. Noctilus, of course, was one of the best characters at spamming summons. So, you would see that. You would see deck droppers with the handguns, and they've all been nerfed pretty heavily, but nonetheless, they still have some pretty good utility against Chaos. Chaos doesn't have the best ranged assets. Sometimes you're going to see Marauder Horsemen, things like that to kind of chase these guys down, but with 130 range, they can usually sit in the center of a Vampire Coast army and just shoot at whatever they want with pretty much absolute freedom. However, they do run out of ammo. Their accuracy has been heavily nerfed, but they still do, have some utility in the Chaos matchup, in my opinion. We have Count Noctilus on his Crow's Nest here, so he's going to be up here on top of this Necrofex Colossus, which packs a lot of punch for sure, but Noctilus has been nerfed. I do think Luther is probably the best choice, but Noctilus is still really, really good, right? And I'm very excited to see how he does on this steed here. In the front line for the Vampire Coast, it looks like it's going to be a combination of deckhand mobs and polearms. Pretty good stuff. Handguns to deal some AP damage against the Warriors of Chaos. Typically, Chaos will go very wide against you and not give you too many good targets to isolate. That's kind of the standard style of play. But, again, this is the day and age of the Chaos spawn. I mean, man, ever since the Hunter and the Beast DLC, I've been seeing them in a ton of Chaos builds. In the back, we have some Warhounds as well. Scurvy dogs are very, very good at chasing down Marauder Horsemen, dealing with the skirmishing elements of the Warriors of Chaos. That's quite a nice pick. We have one group of Mourngulls and Depth Guard. Depth Guard are a pretty good choice here, because oftentimes you're going to see Marauder Swarms, and Depth Guard can literally solo probably 3 or 4 groups of Marauders and just buzzsaw through those guys. Granted, they are a pretty ideal target for Chaos to go after with their spawn and troops like that, but yeah, I still like that quite a bit. And last but not least, we have Lamprey's Revenge, one of the more competitive units on the Vampire Coast roster. Extremely tanky, 59 melee defense. They're like Norgrimlings riding on crabs, and they heal themselves. I mean, they just bring so much utility to the battlefield. So for the Undead Army, for the Warriors of Chaos, we have Aspiring Champions, 2 of them in the front line. A very, very wild pick coming in. We have Mirror Guard, Marauders into the Sunset, and this is where things get a little bit crazy. So certainly going to be going for a blitz, because gun lines will be super effective against Weird Spawn and Chaos Spawn, but if they're able to get in and just kind of start crumping those guys, they'll be excellent at killing deckhand mob chaff, and they'll really tear apart those guns very fast. So I'm very eager to see how the Spawn do in this match. On top of that, we have Archeon. No, I got it so excited. It's going to be the chicken. So Sartorial is a good choice here. He has really good missile resist. He can penetrate into the backline quite easily, and that final transmutation can be super punishing pretty much under any circumstances. Undead factions do often tend to blob up, so having something to punish blobs is very, very good. 2 groups of Marauder Horsemen, and that is it. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and see how this wild showdown goes. So in the front, you can see the Aspiring Champs are going to be coming in, and at the very least, they're going to be wasting ammunition from, the deck droppers and some of these other troops. It even looks like Count Noctilus is shooting his peg leg gun over there and maybe doing some okay work. Aspiring Champion's taking a pretty bad hammering. It looks like there's going to be a Ray Storm going down as well, and it is 500 gold, but you know what? They're tanking well, and this is good. They're kind of like a distraction Carnifex. I mean, if the Chaos Spawn were being targeted, they would have taken serious casualties by now, but you can see here that the Aspiring Champs are going to be the ultimate distraction. So they're going to be maybe making it to the front line. A little bit hard to say. The Mourngulls are now discovered, so the Warriors of Chaos are aware of their spooky presence, and now very, very good focus fire there from Hadries. He's able to get his entire gun line, beautiful stuff, and just wreck the Weird Spawn. Man, they're getting destroyed. You can see Zach's going to be trying to hide the Weird Spawn behind the Marauders, doing his best to kind of circle away from the firing concave, which is a very, very good play there. But we have the deck dropper shooting, Noctilus shooting, a lot of just handgunners just doing a ton of work, and it's quite a scary situation. Now, in the meantime, though, some of the Spawn do make it into the front line, so the Spawn are going to be fighting against the ultimate roadblock of the Lamprey's Revenge, and Spawn have really bad AP value, so it is going to take them quite some time. Granted, I think they still have like 30 or 40 armor-piercing damage, so they will be able to do some work, but man, that is going to take forever to get through. Over here on the flank, the Weird Spawn pretty much got 100 to 0, just absolutely destroyed, but they are able to get over here, and they still have 4 models left, which isn't bad. They're going to be able to do some okay damage against Mourngulls, really help out the Mirror Guard here. And, hey, at the very least, they are going to be going down and just getting massacred here, but they're still doing some damage on the way out against these Mourngulls here. On top of that, Mirror Guard doing a pretty good job. You have 45 melee attack against the 24 melee defense of Mourngulls, so they still are able to, really mulch those guys down pretty well. So if we take a big overhead look at the battlefield, the frontline engagements are underway, Marauders are fighting through the halberds. It's a pretty even affair, and it looks like there's going to be a big old juicy final transmutation maybe going down over here. Yes. Oh, and that's upgraded. That's going to be hitting Noctilus, the gun line. It hits the Depth Guard. And killing the Depth Guard, I think, is a really, really good target priority here for the Warriors of Chaos, because it's one of the troops that could, in the late game, just methodically cut through all of those troops. Now we have a pretty big Chaos overload here. So the Chaos Marauders are getting buffed by the chicken. And, I think that Spawn actually will do an okay job against Depth Guard. They'll be able to get through them. They have 90 armor, which is good, but it's not like 100 million armor like the Crabs have. So they should be able to maybe chew through those guys pretty quickly. Plus, there's also Marauder Horseman pressure. Deck droppers in the meantime are just shooting some of the marauders in the front line. I think maybe these guys should relocate over here and start shooting at some of the chaos spawn. I think the targeting of the oh, those are actually chosen here. So wow, okay, so I missed those. My apologies for missing those in the analysis, but nonetheless they have chosen, and chosen are very durable. A bit of a high value target for sure, but they do have silver shield, so therefore I think that the targeting here from Hadrius is pretty good, trying to deal with one of the main threats to his front line here, which is really going to be getting through. Now as far as this fight goes, it's pretty much a wet noodle contest. We have aspiring champions and chaos spawn, both of which have terrible AP, trying to get through the Lamprey's Revenge, who pretty much taking no damage. They're just healing through the DPS so Spawn are doing. But on the backside, it's not bad. The Chaos Spawn are anchoring this position. They're doing good damage against Depth Guard, and the Depth Guard are afflicted by the Plague of Rust. It's also a very strong synergy. So Spawn, like I said, have really good damage output at 160, but their AP values are horrible. But if you can synergize and use Plague of Rust and really mulch through those guys, you can get some pretty good value. And you can see Depth Guard here are going down rather quickly. So if we look here, we do have the Duel of Duels. You can see the Chosen, I think, have been broken off for the most part. It looks like the Gunlines were able to chase them off. So we have the Chicken versus Noctilus. And the Chicken will be pretty good here. Noctilus does have some weird attack animations against single entities, and he's not the best duelist for southern monsters. Now, he's not bad when he's on the Necrophex Colossus, but it's still not, like, incredible, right? In the back line, Marauder Horsemen have dove onto the Gunnery mobs, which is a good choice, shutting them down, kind of keeping some of the spawn and other troops fighting. And the Chaos Spawn here from Zach have gotten into the back line, and you can see how quickly these Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs are going down. Depth Guard are really holding firm. Man, I might actually keep the spawn to kind of shut those guys down, but man, these Depth Guard are just, they're going to be healing a lot now because the Marauders aren't going to be able to out-DPS their healing that efficiently. Deck droppers from Vampire Coast, in the meantime, are going to be shooting the spawn in the back, which is a really good target. Man, we just have the Duel of Duels. What's a little bit scary here for the Vampire Coast is, though the balance of power is, relatively even, maybe slightly favoring the Warriors of Chaos, there is going to be one more big, just fat, juicy final transmutation at some point, so he's got to watch out for that. Granted, there have been some Plague of Rust casts, which means he might not have enough Winds of Magic, a little bit hard to say. Raystorm coming down as well on top of the spawn. It looks like it maybe take out a model or two, and Count Noctilus is going to be getting away. Deck droppers are almost out of ammo, so when they run out of ammo, they're basically just glorified Fellbats. Granted, what they can do is chase down routing units. So once they run out of ammo, I think the best usage of them would be to chase down the Marauder Horsemen on the far side and go after some of these very loose troops on the wings here. So the Chicken wants this duel, and instead of saving up for a final transmutation, he's using Plague of Rust here, which is very good, putting Noctilus down to 45 armor. And Chicken's damage output isn't bad. I mean, it's 440, it just lacks AP value, so if you can put them down to low armor like this, he's going to be able to get that Cane of Siege and do some really good damage. Now, there still are some Chosen, so that's something, again, I failed to analyze earlier, is that there were two groups of Chosen here, and one group of Chosen is going to be getting into contact with Depth Guard, and Depth Guard are pretty strong, but Chosen should be able to shield bash and just Leonidas kick these guys into oblivion. So you can see here Depth Guard starting to crumble down to 14 models. The Chosen are holding very, very firm. Depth Guard themselves do lack AP, so they will, not be able to get through 120 armor very effectively. Over here, we have the Chicken continuing to fight the big beast, and it looks like some of the crabs have been pulled into. The Lamprey's Revenge are still in pretty good shape, so that's a really nice boon for Vampire Coast. And now you guys can see the balance of power is actually ebbing slowly back into the favor of Vampire Coast. Are they going to make a comeback? Perhaps so. The crabs here are really serving as a solid roadblock, and they hit pretty hard, so Sartorial is going to be forced back. A nice summon from Noctilus is going to be tar pitting this force and keeping the advance from really pushing. However, Zach does have 23 Marauder Horsemen in the back here, which are doing some pretty good work against Noctilus. Everything, every little thing in a close game like this absolutely counts. Sartorial, in the meantime, is going to be coming and drumsticking the last of those Depth Guard there, and it looks like those guys are pretty much out of the picture. Now, we still do have 40 Chosen here. We have some aspiring champions, which, believe it or not, at this point in the game is actually really nice. Having that extra encouragement means that Sartorial can run around, do other things, and, the whole time, the other troops are going to be getting the encouragement aura from the aspiring champions. Really good play here by Hadrius, getting the Deck Droppers to chase off the Marauder Horsemen. I mean, when Noctilus is this low, it really, really is important to kind of mitigate the damage he's taking. And Noctilus has a really good Death Star. I mean, he has the Lamprey's Revenge. I mean, those guys are going to be so tough. I mean, there's barely any AP. I don't think there is any at all here for the Warriors of Chaos. So they're really going to have to grind that out the slow way. And when I say something doesn't have AP, pretty much everything in the game has some degree of an armor-piercing value. It just means that, like, proportionately speaking, their AP values aren't very good. It's just going to be very low. Here you can see the Deck Droppers cleaning up the chaff. Very, very good stuff, chasing off some of these beat-up Chosen as well as the aspiring champions. Noctilus needs to be careful, though. He needs to get that peg leg working and make sure to keep the crabs on top of the Chicken. Oh, is this going to be it? Is this going to be a final transmutation coming down from Sartorial? Oh, that is so huge. That's going to do so much damage. It hits Noctilus, it hits the crabs, it hits the infantry. That is huge. I mean, if he didn't have enough Winds of Magic for that, I think he would have been on the ropes. But now you can see Chaos pulls back into the balance of power a little bit here. And Count Noctilus and company are going to be getting caned pretty good. 1,000 HP. Oh, I think I might have been looking at the balance of power wrong during the battle, so my apologies, guys. Just a little bit disoriented. I just finished casting like 5 games, all right? So Sartorial in here coming in 578 HP. Noctilus is very low himself. 757. Man, is Chaos going to be able to win this? It's so close. Sartorial's at 41 HP. He's going to be going down here. It looks like the Crabs should finish off this KFC drumstick. And it looks like Sartorial has fallen, but there's still Spawn holding firm at 207 kills. Now, even though they die quickly, they are a very sustainable unit. And against factions that cause terror and are very grindy like Vampire Coast, perhaps there is a wild place in them for the metagame. So Lamprey's Revenge here are going to be going down as well. Negative leadership, they're crumbling, taking a lot of damage. Those Chosen are holding firm. Those 7 Spawn are still grinding things out. And is Vampire Coast going to be able to come back? No way. No way, maybe. Oh, that would be insane. Noxos is healing, guys. Invocation of Nehek is going down, and the Bounce Power is creeping back towards the middle. What a nail-biter of a game. If we look around the map, you can see there's pretty much no other elements. Oh, Marauder Horseman coming back in could be big. And on top of that, we have Death Droppers with handguns. If those guys can get over and rear charge with the Chosen and just kind of tarp at things and allow Noctilus to just not crumble and die, that would be pretty substantial. Lamprey's Revenge have 2 models left. Noctilus dropping all his peg leg shots here on the Spawn. The Death Droppers in here doing the best they can. The Bounce of Power is pretty much back towards the middle here. Absolute insanity. And yeah, let's look around. I'm not seeing anything. I mean, some of the Horsemen might come back, some infantry. Chaos are getting some troops rallying, and everything matters. And here comes the Death Droppers with handguns swarming in. And I think they have a bit of a charge bonus. Yeah, it's like 16. It's not negligible, but... And Count Noctilus is going down. I don't know. I don't think they can win without him. Yeah, Death Droppers are not going to be able to fight Aspiring Champions. And who would have thought? Chaos Spawn, Aspiring Champions, the last troop standing here in the battle. What an incredible game by these 2 awesome players. So yeah, not much to say there. I mean, the build by Zach was a little bit hog wild for sure. I would not expect it to be good against Coast. Although I feel like Coast, in terms of their recent nerfs and the way they play, they've kind of rotated a little bit away from gun lines, and they start to play more with kind of like sniping with Luther and like, you know, melee brushes and things like that. So yeah, I mean, maybe he was just trying to match fire with fire, but, you know, the Chosen did really good, 193, 94. Some of the Spawn did okay. The Weird Spawn obviously got crumped pretty good, but by that time, the gun line for the Vampire Coast kind of got compromised, so they weren't able to really kind of take out the other ones terribly effectively. But yeah, it was a really cool build by both players. I love Zach's build with the Spawn and the Chosen and Inspiring Champions, and Hadri's build was good. It was just, if Hadri's had that build like pre-nerf, like back when Vampire Coast came out, that would have been just like, Chaos would have been just like flattened probably by a lot of those tools. But obviously since the nerfs, and I think it has come to a good place. Like the Death Droppers just aren't really efficient. I feel like they just don't pay for themselves usually. But everything else was great. It was cool seeing Noctilus on his Crow's Nest up on his Mighty Beast. You don't see that terribly often. So yeah, that was really fun. So well played to Zach B. Sane and Hadri's. Awesome guys. Make sure to, I was about to say, make sure, I'm like, I don't think they have Twitch channels. I could have sworn they did, but make sure to check them out whenever they play. Always fun to watch. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this Chaos vs Vampire Coast game, and we will see you guys on the other side. Take care.